There was a huge blow-up at Geeta's office one day. It all started when Ankit confronted her, furious about feeling left out. He was upset because he thought everything they'd been doing lately was unfair to him. He couldn't help but wonder, was it because of his less-than-stunning looks? Every time the four of them hung out, it always seemed like Geeta was all about Gaurav and Sanjay, and barely paid any attention to him. Ankit felt completely ignored, especially when they were in bed together. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into some truly shocking real-life stories. And this one. It's coming straight out of Tanjavur, in the state of Tamil Nadu, India. Now, believe it or not, after covering so many criminal cases, I've realized that many conflicts start with one common issue: a marriage that doesn't produce children. In any household, when there are no kids, things can start to feel pretty dull, right? Eventually, people stop caring about each other's feelings. But what happens when this issue is happening in a family with a respected public figure? That's where the story gets wild. So, stick around and let's jump right into this crazy case. Before we dive into the story, don't forget to hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. And hey, share this story with your friends too. Let's get the word out. Alright, now let's jump into it. So here's the story. There's a woman named Geeta, born in 1975, who became a police officer back in 1998. She worked in Vollam for a while, but eventually got transferred to the Ramani Nagar police station in Tanjavur. In 2002, she married Vivek, who works at the Mannargudi Municipal Sports Department. Together, they own 2 houses in Mannargudi. Now, their marriage wasn't exactly picture-perfect, mainly because of the distance. Both of them had demanding jobs, so they were living apart most of the time. But, no big deal, right? They had money to spare and would buy plane tickets every week to visit each other. But here's the catch: despite being married for over a decade, they still didn't have kids. Geeta even took a month off to focus on their relationship, hoping it would help them start a family. But, still nothing. In January 2015, Geeta heard some shocking news from a friend back in Mannargudi. Her husband, Vivek, had been unfaithful. He had a secret mistress in the city. At first, Geeta tried to brush it off, but things got worse. Turns out, Vivek had been spending a lot of money on the mistress, even selling one of their houses to fund their affair. This pushed Geeta to the edge. She couldn't let him waste all their money like this. So, being the police officer she was, Geeta set out to track down her husband's dark secret. What she discovered was shocking. The mistress wasn't just any woman, she was an entertainer, and she had sucked Vivek dry of money. Worse, Vivek developed a mysterious stomach illness that no doctor could explain. Eventually, it was discovered that the illness was caused by black magic. His mistress had put a spell on him so he would fulfill all her wishes. Geeta, determined to help her husband, organized a prayer program and brought in a psychic to remove the curse. For 2 months, Vivek took a leave of absence to recover, staying with Geeta and her family in Tanjavur. But the drama didn't stop there. The couple's families got involved, and the blame game began. One side blamed Geeta for not being able to have children, which they said pushed Vivek into the arms of a younger woman. The other side blamed Vivek for being a cheater and choosing an affair over starting a family. The chaos led to a mediation session in March 2016, but nothing was resolved. Eventually, Geeta and Vivek decided to separate and divorced. Their story didn't end there though. After the separation, both of them felt lonely and struggled to find new partners. 8 months later, in November 2016, they decided to give it another shot. They got back together and even held another wedding reception. In December, they applied for adoption, and just 2 months later, they were granted adoption papers. They brought home a beautiful 8-year-old girl and hired a babysitter to help care for her while Geeta was still working as a police officer and Vivek was off and away. Despite their reconciliation, though, things weren't as passionate as before. They had been married for 15 years, both were now in their 40s, and their relationship had settled into a routine. The long distance was still a strain on their marriage, but now, Geeta didn't really mind if Vivek had a new mistress. In fact, the drama from earlier had caused some serious tension with their extended families. So, instead of focusing on their relationship, Geeta decided to shift her attention to her health. She got into yoga and fitness, and hired a personal trainer named Moya, who was 33, full of energy, and super positive. Moya wasn't just a trainer, she became a close friend to Geeta. They worked on everything from diet to sleep schedules, and Moya even helped Geeta de-stress. On lazy Sundays, if Geeta was bored at home, Moya would invite her out to clubs or just to hang out and get some fresh air, so Geeta wouldn't get too caught up in the stress of everyday life. In April 2017, Moya casually mentioned that she sometimes joined bed parties with a mix of men and women, just to spice things up a bit. It was something that happened pretty often in both big cities and small towns, especially for those in the know. Geeta, who had never heard of such a thing outside of movies, was immediately intrigued. She had to know more. So, she started asking Moya all kinds of questions, like how group play worked, what the vibe was, and how people split off. Moya would laugh and explain, even teasingly inviting Geeta to join once. But Geeta, nervous and unsure, always backed out, saying she was too afraid. Moya thought it was cute, though, and laughed at how innocent Geeta seemed. Then, in early May 2017, Moya introduced Geeta to Ajay, a 30-year-old who was into working out and also traded muscle protein. Turns out, Ajay was a regular at these secret bed parties with Moya and her friends. They were very selective about who they invited. Only people who were healthy, clean, and most importantly, good at keeping secrets. After meeting Ajay, Geeta's curiosity only grew. She started asking even more questions, feeling nervous but intrigued. She realized she'd never felt that kind of excitement, even when she was with her husband. It took her a while to make up her mind, and she cancelled a few times, but on May 21, 2017, she finally decided to join. She attended her first bed party at the Sultan Hotel with 5 others. After that, she was hooked. Within the next 2 months, she'd attend the 2nd, 3rd, and 6th parties. Geeta's life seemed brighter now. She couldn't help but smile whenever she met anyone, even if it was just a regular conversation. She noticed how, when her husband came home and talked to her all night, it didn't bother her anymore. They'd chat about their daughter's progress, work, and their plans for the summer. When Vivek went out of town, Geeta was totally fine with it. But then, on July 22, 2017, during a break at the office, she overheard something interesting. Gaurav, 28, Ankit, 34, and Fanjay, 29, were talking about their, let's say, adventures with women. Without realizing it, Geeta caught that they, too, had participated in bed parties, even hiring 2 comfort women for a few occasions. She just smiled to herself. Everyone had their own secrets, and as long as they did their jobs well and stayed professional, who was she to judge? A little while later, Geeta joked with Gaurav about people who like to party and pay women to have a good time. Gaurav laughed but seemed embarrassed. Geeta, trying to lighten the mood, said, "It's fine, don't feel bad. You're an adult, after all, and there's no punishment for it." Gaurav laughed again, admitting it was just for fun, and he'd done it with Ankit and Fanjay because it was a unique experience. Geeta, ever the open-minded one, said, "Yeah, it's normal. You're adults, and as long as everything's clean, it's no big deal." Gaurav, feeling a bit suspicious about how well Geeta seemed to understand, finally asked, "Geeta, ma'am, have you ever done it?" Without missing a beat, Geeta smiled and said, "I've done it with some younger gym buddies." Feeling a bit daring, she added, "We could try it sometime." Gaurav was caught off guard but laughed and said, "If we both keep it a secret, sure." To everyone's surprise, Gaurav finally built up the courage to message Geeta about joining a bed party sometime, if she was interested. He'd invite Ankit and Fanjay as usual. Miraculously, Geeta agreed, but only on the condition that she would be the only woman there. Gaurav was fine with that, saying that the fewer people, the better. Too many people and someone might spill the secret. So they all agreed, and the first party happened on August 30, 2017, at a hotel in Tanjavur. Geeta felt satisfied and, in a way, addicted. Just 8 days later, on September 8, 2017, they did it again, and Geeta couldn't help but feel more youthful and alive than ever. On August 11, 2017, a major argument broke out at Geeta's office. Ankit was upset with her, feeling that their previous encounters had been unfair. He wondered if it was because of his less-than-stunning looks that every time the group got together, Geeta would focus on Gaurav and Fanjay, hardly paying attention to him. Ankit felt completely ignored during their time together. Geeta, shocked by the accusation, explained that she didn't even realize she was neglecting him. She was just too caught up with Gaurav and Fanjay. She apologized if she had offended him, but assured him it wasn't about looks or anything personal. "Don't be so grumpy, Ankit. We agreed on this," she said. Ankit, however, wasn't backing down. He threatened that if it happened again, he'd completely lose it. Geeta, feeling cornered and anxious, confided in Gaurav. "Next time, don't invite him," she said. "I can't deal with this." She was nervous, worried that Ankit, feeling hurt, might spill their secret and ruin everything for them. It could jeopardize their reputations and bring serious trouble. By August 21st, Ankit started getting suspicious. Gaurav and Fanjay were supposed to be away for the weekend, but Geeta hadn't heard from them. Normally, they'd hang out or grab drinks, but today, there was no word. "Where are you going?" Ankit asked himself. Was there a party going on with Geeta that he wasn't invited to? He had to find out. Deciding to act, Ankit went to the Tanjava Hotel, where the previous 2 bed parties had taken place. He showed up around 11 p.m. and, on a whim, asked the receptionist if any rooms were booked under Gaurav's name. The receptionist confirmed there was a room booked and, to Ankit's surprise, it was under Geeta's name too. "They've been here since 8 p.m., she said. "Just the 3 of them." This revelation infuriated Ankit, and when the receptionist asked, "How come you weren't invited?" Ankit, caught off guard, lied, "I had an event earlier, that's why I'm late." The receptionist handed him a key card, and Ankit stormed up to the room. When he burst in, Gaurav, Geeta, and Fanjay thought a burglar had broken in. Without warning, Ankit attacked Gaurav, and Fanjay tried to stop him. Then, he turned his anger on Geeta, shouting about how, when they had been playing as a group of 4, she had ignored him. "Now you're bringing in 2 others," he yelled. Geeta, taken aback, tried to defend herself, but Ankit tried to lunge at her. Thankfully, Gaurav quickly stepped in, knocking Ankit back. In the heat of the moment, Ankit pulled a gun from his waist and aimed it at Geeta. Reacting quickly, she ran behind Fanjay, and the shot hit him instead. Gaurav immediately kicked Ankit hard, sending him to the ground, giving Geeta the chance to escape. She ran screaming out of the room, just as the officers arrived and rushed Fanjay to the hospital. Tragically, Fanjay didn't make it. He died at just 29 years old. The incident hit Geeta hard. She was devastated at the police station, where she worked, now facing the consequences of her actions. When her colleagues found out about the shooting, many were shocked. Fanjay, a young man who had only been transferred from Volum town a year earlier, had now paid the ultimate price for their reckless behavior. The whole community, and even Geeta's superiors, couldn't believe it. Geeta, as a police officer, should have been setting an example for her juniors. She was supposed to be a role model, a protector of the people, and yet she had let personal adult issues get in the way of her professionalism. The tragedy of Fanjay's death, caused by his own friends, left everyone questioning how things had spiraled so out of control. Ankit couldn't hide his disappointment with his 2 younger friends, Gaurav and Fanjay, who were 5 years his junior. He had been the one to show them the ropes, even inviting them to their first bed party with a comfort woman, and later bringing Ms. Geeta into the mix. But he couldn't understand why he was always left out. Whenever the 4 of them played, it was always Gaurav and Fanjay who got all the attention, while Ankit was left out in the cold. Sometimes he felt like nothing more than a spectator, or worse, a mosquito guard. It hurt, especially when it seemed like Geeta didn't care about him, perhaps because of how he looked, dark and less attractive. It was all supposed to be fair, but he wasn't getting his share. Things came to a head when Ankit found out that Gaurav and Sanjay were planning another party, and once again, he wasn't invited, not even a heads up. Furious, he immediately headed to the Tanjava hotel, and there he saw the painful truth. He was nothing more than an afterthought to them. The betrayal hit him hard, and in his anger, he thought about killing Geeta. But when he tried, Sanjay stepped in and stopped him from pulling out the weapon he was carrying. After the incident, Geeta's life took a sharp turn. Her relationship with her husband, Vivek, grew distant, and their intimacy suffered. On top of that, Vivek's family was pushing for a separation, marking this as the second time they had asked for it. Despite the tension, Vivek eventually forgave her for the sake of their children. Meanwhile, Geeta, Gaurav, and Ankit were all removed from their positions within the Ramani Nagar Provincial Police for the scandal that had damaged their reputation. 3 months later, in October 2017, Geeta finally found the courage to speak out in court about her personal struggles. Married for almost 16 years without ever having children of her own, she revealed how her husband had cheated with other women, leaving her feeling empty. Now, their marriage was only held together for the sake of maintaining the family's good name and their adopted child. Through tears, she also shared how she had been introduced to adult parties by her personal trainer and how they had given her a sense of confidence and freshness that had been missing for so long. Geeta apologized to everyone, urging them not to follow in her footsteps, as she knew what she had done was wrong. On January 25, 2018, the verdict came down at the Ramani Nagar Provincial High Court. Ankit was found guilty of assault, using a weapon that led to Sanjay's death, and attempting a crime against Geeta. The 35-year-old was sentenced to 25 years in prison. Geeta was charged with misconduct and sentenced to 6 months, while Gaurav received 3 months in prison. When Geeta was released, her husband welcomed her back, and they even took their daughter to Mannar Gudi, where Vivek was stationed. What lessons can we learn from this story?